Alright, welcome guys to the post Game Week 9 video. So I'm going to quickly just run through the results from this game week and give my opinion and views on certain aspects of each result. So Spurs and Liverpool, a 0-0 and probably a good point for Liverpool. Liverpool had chances to really obviously hit the framework, but in terms of the best chances in the game, that undoubtedly went to Spurs and they weren't able to convert. In terms of what this means for both teams, obviously for Klopp, he's got 2 draws now in both his games and the UEFA Cup. And in the UEFA Cup, they actually played pretty much a first team. So people in fantasy who have Liverpool players, they need to be aware of one, is Klopp essentially going to keep the same team for the UEFA Cup and the Premier League, or is he going to rotate? And if he is going to rotate, which players are likely to be part of rotation? And you see, why that is important is because if you run with a player who's going to get rotated, you might suffer because obviously he might not play in your fantasy team, which is obviously not a good thing. In terms of the players that who are potentially in that kind of running, um, likewise with Spurs, Spurs actually they lost against Anderlecht, but in terms of the specific players to look out for, pretty much this whole team pretty much played last week. I mean, against uh, Rubin Kazan. So, you know, there's not really much more to say except for the fact that it looks like as if Klopp is going to be running uh, with these first 11 in the UEFA Cup as well. In terms of Tottenham, um, yeah, there actually is a bit of rotation, to be honest. There's more rotation in the Spurs team. And what's interesting is a lot of people got um, Davies in because obviously um, relatively cheap Tottenham player, but Rose came back and Rose collected a very good free bonus. So, sometimes you need to pay a bit more, but you're guaranteed a player is definitely going to play. And maybe I should take a leaf from my own book because there's a mistake. Well, not a mistake, something that I did, which I will kind of explain later. In terms of Chelsea and Villa, big win for Chelsea. Needed to win. Villa never really looked like as if they were going to be a threat, to be honest. I think Begovic made maybe one save in the entire game, and Costa came back, and Hazard obviously got dropped. That's the truth. He got dropped because of his work rate defensively was not good enough for Chelsea and the manager. So, end of the day, he's got dropped, but Costa's back and he's firing. So, in terms of firing, well, I'll just say that he's getting the points. So that's the most important thing. He's got a free bonus there. Very good week for those that had him. In terms of Crystal Palace and West Ham, to be honest, I was watching this game, and obviously the Gale sending off is massive because at that point, Gale was actually doing pretty well against West Ham's defense. But this kind of reminds me of Crystal Palace in the sense that they are meant to be the ones that are very prolific away and had that speed and counter. But at home, if you look at Alan Podge's record, it's not as impressive as away because when you're at home, it's the impetus is on you to break down the team, and for that you need certain quality players. That's why I think Lukaku, for instance, could not make it at Chelsea, whereas was more effective during his loan spells against Everton. Sorry, with West Brom, for instance. So back to the same point again, and obviously Everton as well because he had a loan there as well. But back to the point, West Ham, they seem to be struggling at home because I don't think they have the players and personnel to break teams down when they're essentially defensive or parking the bus. But away, they're able to play better. It suits the players more, have more space, and a very impressive performance from West Ham. Let's get clear. Crystal Palace away is a tough place to go to. In most occasions, a very good team, and it's a very good result for West Ham. Paya obviously got a late goal, and there's a brilliant finish, by the way, absolutely great finish. But um, it's interesting, Pyatt, he missed a very good chance at the start of the game as well, and he doesn't really play that great, but he still gets a bonus. And I think fantasy really do love this player. So if there's a certain West Ham player to get, obviously get him. Lanzini obviously valued at 5, I think 0.3 or something, very little. He's also another player to consider, but obviously Pyatt offers more because he can take set pieces, and that kind of stuff does add up at the end. And that's not much. There's not much more to say in regards to that. Obviously, Pyatt taking penalties, he's converting them, and yeah, like I've already mentioned Kabaya before, so let's not get into that. In regards to Everton Main Night, to be honest, I didn't think Main Night will win this game just because they've had a pretty bad record against Everton, and also Main Night been a bit on and off, you know. Obviously drew a good draw by the way away at CSK as well. Don't let's not forget CSK caused Man City a lot of problems last season, but a very good win, convincing victory for Manchester United. So where credit is due, it's due, and they totally bossed the game. And there's not much more to say. Kept the clean sheet. Smalling, I mean, set pieces, all from the second ball, from the set piece, they were able to get chances. And I think for me, the standout player was Herrera. And yeah, I mean, obviously, from his days when he playing in La Liga, people, always said that he has got, he's a good central player. He just needs that time. And I think he needs to be given a consistent run by Van Gaal for him to really, make a stamp in his team. Otherwise, it's difficult. But obviously, Schneider with his first goal for Manchester United, and Smalling obviously got a good bonus, two bonus. So look, if you're going to get main out defender, I always said get Smalling because he does offer that presence in set pieces, but he's valued quite high, and it can go both ways. But you just never know when main outs might start conceding, and you might get Smalling in despite the fact he's got a lot of points, and you might have a bad 3 4 weeks with the club, but he's obviously throughout the season going to get some points at some point. So he's a player that I particularly promote. Obviously, Rojo did well as well, got an assist. So yeah, not much to say. Oh yeah, there is actually one more point to say. That's regarding Martial. So Martial was more used defensively by Manchester United, and that might be a bit annoying because people that are running with Martial, and it's quite a lot of people running with him. You need to be aware of that. Even though he scored against CSK, they're playing Rooney more advanced, and let's not forget Rooney potentially taking the penalties as well. It kind of makes an argument. Maybe pay the £2 million more get Rooney, or is it better just to get Martial? It's something to. I personally, if I were going to get a Man United player at the moment, and it's instinct, probably go towards Rooney, but um, that's something to think about. So yeah. In regards to Man City Bournemouth, despite some key personnel missing for Man City, they won the game very well, 5-1. Bournemouth had the chance. They probably should have got a penalty actually at the start of the game. But either way, when you recruit as well as Man City have done, in the sense of, your team is never the 11 players on the pitch, it's also the bench. And they obviously made sure if the players get injured, there's players to deputise for them of good quality. And, we saw De Bruyne how well he played in the Champions League, especially with his goal, because that goal means a lot. When it's 1-1, a few minutes left, to do what he did there was absolutely brilliant. So when they got people like him in the team, so when they, for example, have Silva injured, Aguero away, they got Bunny as well. You don't feel it as much, and that's a credit to the recruitment system at Man City. Um, Defensively, however, City are a bit naive, but obviously they've got Kolarov back now. So all you guys who've got Kolarov or maybe considering getting Kolarov in or getting back in, whatever, he is back, and I expect him to be part of the first team forward. The thing though I would say is maybe Sanya's going to go on the bench because I think Zabaleta will play, and I think Kolarov will play, and I think Sanya will get benched. And the reason why I say this as well is because Zabaleta got subbed off in the Champions League game. Sanya actually changed sides where he's playing, so instead of playing on the right, he went on the left, and he played the full 90 minutes. So I think Sanya will not play the game against Manchester United away this week. So I would say be wary of that. But otherwise, look, Sterling got a hat trick. I actually got him in this week, and um, was it just hindsight? I don't know what it was, but either way, I thought it was either him or Boney to get. To be honest, Boney got 16. I think Sterling got 17 or something. No, 19. Sorry. So okay, maybe a few points, 3 points gap between those two players, but they're different positions. But either way, good number of points for Man City. Um, in the sense of the Man City players who people kind of recruited in for replacing players like Silva and Aguero. In terms of the Southampton and Leicester game, it's a game of really two halves in a way, but Vardy had more chances than suggested. Actually, Vardy, up until half time, missed some good number of chances. By full time, he scored 2 goals. Maybe he should have scored 4. He had a lot of chances during this game. Southampton obviously dominated in terms of first half, raised to a 2-0 lead, and I think this is the difference between maybe a lot of top teams in the league that a top 4 team would really kill off the game against Leicester now. They're 2-0 ahead. Southampton obviously not top 4 team. They can't kill it off unless they came back. And Leicester's great start to the season, a lot of it has been credited to Mahrez. However, it seems like as if Claudio Ranieri feels like no one's really praised him. So to kind of get the limelight on him, he's dropped Mahrez. And now in the second half, when Mahrez came on, Leicester looked like a real threat. They looked like as if they were going to score goals. So it kind of begs the question, why isn't Morris starting? And my kind of theory behind this is purely down to the fact that Claudio Ranieri feels like Morris is taking all the credit which he deserves. Yep, it's a theory. But either way, in terms of players to recommend, look, I got Vardy in this week as well, and he's been consistently doing it for the last 4 or 5 weeks. So look, he's a player to get in, and his value's rising quick. So whether if you want to now take the gamble or not, that's up to you guys. But in terms of another player who recommended was Van Dijk, and Van Dijk got a goal, and I was very close to getting him this week as well because I actually implemented my wildcard this week, so I could have done various transfers. But there's not much more to say in regards to specific personnel from this game. West Brom Sunderland, look, at the end of this game, it was quite a heated clash between two teams who were near at the bottom of the table. But a very important win for West Brom because it kind of gives them a buffer zone now to not really think about relegation or being near the teams at the bottom. Whereas Sunderland, it makes that derby game even more important. And Sam Allardyce, I'm sure, just needs a bit more time to kind of. It's not a fair assessment of his team and his credentials as a manager for Sunderland. We'll get a better understanding of that against Newcastle this week, hopefully. But in terms of specific players, Perino was another striker I was considering, although I have no regrets of getting him. I'm not getting him purely because the players that I did get in strike did get points. But I think he got 9 points, and he's definitely, he's going to get chances, going to take penalties. So it's a very simple case. Get him if you want. And Miho, he's the one keeper I would say, he might not make that many saves, but in fantasy they love him a lot and they give him bonuses crazily. Like, if you want to get a keeper and, you know, and you've got like exactly 4.7 million. I'm just saying, but yeah, if you want to get a keeper in this game, Boaz Miles is definitely a one because whenever I see him, he can get bonuses despite not doing that many saves. In this game, just two. West Brom Arsenal. Look, as an Arsenal fan, obviously I watched the whole game and up into the first hour, look, Watford had decent chances. Deeney couldn't maybe give the ball to Igalo. Igalo totally like fluffed a shot. But Arsenal had chances as well. Ramsey maybe should have scored in the first half. But I think it was just a matter of time. I'm not saying it down to fitness. I'm just saying Arsenal played patient, and that was a smart thing. And by the end of it, they cruised control. So Ozil obviously played great. Had a penalty as well, which instead they carried on and Sanchez scored. So Ozil by far the best player on the pitch for me, in my opinion, played great. But so were the other players. Ramsey obviously, I just think that he's disappointing got injured, and because you know he was just starting to maybe slowly get back into that kind of form we've seen him do like a couple of seasons back. But either way, Bellerin obviously got an assist, a player I was considering. In regards to the mistake that I made was that I got Gabriel, and when I say mistake, obviously Koscielny was injured and came back, and you know I think Gabriel has been quite sensational whilst playing that centre back for Arsenal. But look, it backfired. These things can happen in fantasy. I went for a risk knowing that there's a chance he might not play, and it's one of those things that I have to kind of take. But the disappointing thing is not that. The disappointing thing is actually I missed out on the clean sheet because my intention was right to get Arsenal defender. It's just that I missed out on this crucial 4 points. Bellerin is a player I've been looking at, but he's just almost £1 million more, and I just don't have that money. So, and obviously he got very good points this week. So, yeah. In regards to the Newcastle Norwich game, I actually watched this game as well. Having got Yanmat in my team, and I've got the Elliott, and obviously that backfired because Notes scored 2 goals, but Yanmat did get one of the assists at least. But Sissoko Wijnaldum, absolutely great. Wijnaldum, obviously, Dutch Player of the Year. He's showing exactly why he got that title, and credit to him. Scored 4 goals, 25 points. He's, I'm sure a lot of people would have got him in as a result of this result, as a rebound effect. But people should think very carefully. They're going to run this player for a long duration of time. There's no doubt in my head that Wijnaldum will collect points during across the whole season. How many? Let's see, because Newcastle, they performed in this game, and Norwich have not been that impressive, away. To be honest, I think they beat Sunderland away, and almost any team can really do that. But it's been a bit shaky. But let's see how Newcastle really do against Sunderland away, because Sunderland have been beating Newcastle consistently for the last few seasons in the derby games, and it's going to be very interesting to see what Steve McLaren does after his first win against his local rivals. So yeah, and lastly, the Monday night game with Swansea and Stoke. I kicked that Bojan, had no regrets again, as I mentioned, because other players got points. He took the penalty. Now that's an incentive to look at him. at this lineup. And yeah, in terms of Bojan taking penalties, you might need to be careful about this just purely because Juve didn't play and because Waters didn't play. So even though like Bojan did get the points, you need to be careful to exactly is he really the penalty kick taker. So that's something that I would just kind of make people very aware of. In terms of Swansea, they've obviously hit a brick wall because they started the season very well and now they're just not clicking. And I just think they need to change personnel. Maybe I don't know what it is exactly, but this can happen. This can happen to a team in the Premier League who are not necessarily a top four team. It's not normal for a top four team to go through this period, but we've seen it with Chelsea. It can happen, and but they obviously get out of it at some point. Whereas for Swansea, you don't want this to drag on for like a good chunk of the season. We've seen this before with a lot of teams. Newcastle, we've seen this for a lot of teams, and they eventually get into trouble. So I think it's a case of a bit of a, you know, kind of training work needs to be done by Gary Monk, and he needs to carefully think about his team selection because something is clearly just not working. They need something new, something fresh. So yeah, but either way, that's my analysis of this game week. In terms of my team, 76 points. Obviously, if you can see my team now, you would see that there's a poor captain selection. And to be honest, you know, my team did well. It's just my captain selection pretty much let me down. And for the last 9 game weeks, except for really only 1 week did I captain right. All other weeks I kind of did bad captaining. So I'm hoping my fate can change. Although it is my decision of the day, so maybe I do regret it. If it works out, it pans out, it's great. Like when I captained Sanchez away to Leicester, it was great. When everyone captained Aguero, I went for extra risk, having captain Sanchez, this captain Silva, and that slightly backfired because I missed out on 16, 17 points. But end of the day, it's a game. Have fun, go for risks, and as long as you don't regret it too much, that's that. But like I say, if you got points above the average, just move on. If you win your head-to-heads, just move on, and that's exactly what happened. So I'm moving on from this game week. And I hope everyone else had a good game week. There's not really else much to say, and the next video will be the pre-game week 10 video.